Good evening, everyone, and big welcome to our 12 days of Christmas. For anybody that's new that's joining us, every evening for the first 12 days of December at 7 p.m. every evening, we will be doing a free Christmas door wreath decoration class. But also, I've been giving people the option, if there anything that you'd like me to cover, anything that you'd like me to do, to put it in the comments. And the last few evenings we've had lots of responses and lots of people requesting, would we do a grave remembrance wreath? So that's what I'm going to do this evening. Now I have done one, I know, another evening, so hopefully if you have missed that, you can always scroll back down through our pages to the other evenings. As I said, in total there'll be 12 different designs of door wreaths and also remembrance wreaths. So sometimes when I'm doing remembrance wreaths, I use our florist ribbon, and I have used that before. And other times I like to use like a fabric ribbon. So this is a fabric ribbon, which I think is quite nice. It's kind of like a hessian with a kind of a glittery velour. Now I know when it comes to grave wreaths, people just say, would you put a bit of glitter on a grave wreath? Well, hold on there, put on your sunglasses, because this is going to be a glittery wreath, okay, that I'm going to demonstrate tonight. And yes, it is for a grave and it is a remembrance wreath. I always feel with wreaths, okay, especially if you're going on a grave, there's so many people out there make them very sad and miserable looking and skimpy looking, and they put hardly any decoration on them. They just about put a bow on them, and they feel that because it's going on a grave, it has to be sad. But no, it doesn't, okay? It's Christmas. That person, if they were alive, would probably be celebrating Christmas, and they probably would love some baubles and some pine cones and some fruit slices and so on. So again, I'm going to give you a choice over the next few evenings of different styles. This is not going to be everybody's taste, but I'd love to get a little bit of feedback on it. So again, in the comments there, give me a little bit of feedback on, like, do you prefer this one? Do you prefer the ones I done the other night? Or again, over the next few evenings? Or is there something that you would like me to demonstrate? Comment below, let me know, and I'll try and oblige as many people as I can. But before we get started, let me know who's watching and where are you watching in from. So comment below, let me know your name and where you're watching in from. And of course, we're going to have some giveaways tonight. I'll give you some more information on that in a second. So while I'm starting off, this ribbon probably could have done with an iron, to be honest. I'm doing what we call our collar bow and our back part into the front there, and I'm squashing or squeezing or gathering it in so that I get the shape of this bow, and I'm securing it with a wire. So these are 20 gauge wires that I'm using. I'm wrapping it around the center, squeezing the wire in tight and wrapping one wire around the other. And then I'm able to go back and I'm able to fluff out my loops, pull down my two tails, and then I can fancy off the ends of the tails, and you can keep them the same length if you want. And we'll do our little dovetail cut upwards into the center to get that fancy little V you see at the end. So for inserting the bow onto your wreath, okay, you can have the bow at the top or at the bottom. I'm going to put it at the top. So the area that you're going to place the bow, bring that close to your stomach and bring it slightly over the edge of the table. So the wire then goes down through the Christmas spruce, okay, hold it in place, and the other hand goes in underneath and it finds the wire that has come through the base. And all I'm doing is I'm making a U shape or a horseshoe bend with the wire, and I'm sticking it back up into the base to secure it in place that our bow won't fall off. Now sometimes when you're sticking the wire up into the base, you hit a branch. Sometimes when I'm sticking the wire down through it, I hit a branch. It's bound to happen tonight. It's happened every other night. And if that happens, just pull it back out, straighten the wire, and off you go again. Now this is just a cheap florist ribbon, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook some ribbon in around the base, in under the foliage, in under the bow there, just kind of poking it through with my finger till it comes out through the other side. And then I'm going to tie these two pieces of ribbon together in a knot really tight onto the base. Now if you've been watching me when I'm doing door wreaths, I normally do this, and this is so that you can hang it on your door. But what I'm actually doing tonight, okay, is I'm just now catching the two pieces of ribbon together, and I'm making another knot, okay? So I'm making like a little handle really, pulling that knot tight, and I'll hold it up there now just so that you can see it. So there is, you see where I put the other knot in? I'm going to cut off that little piece of ribbon, and all that is, it's a handle for actually carrying it. Because again, I don't know what graveyards you go to, But the ones I go to, when you park the car, you have ages to walk, you know, and it's normally raining and it's absolutely freezing. So it's handy to be able to put that into your hand and carry it. So again, if you're selling them or giving them to somebody, I recommend to put a little handle on them. Now, the ribbon that I'm going to use to make it more remembrance is this ribbon here, which is called Loving Christmas Remembrance, okay? There is a company up in Carlingford called O'Neill's Flowers, and they have rolls of this ribbon for sale. There's hundreds of these, well, maybe not hundreds, but there's loads anyway, of these strips, and you just cut them off the roll. But I kind of find on their own, they're a little bit miserable looking. So what I have done, this is a fabric ribbon, is I've just used a stapler, and I have a staple there and a staple there to hold it in place. But you could do exactly the same onto the cheap florist ribbon, and I just feel it just makes it look a little bit more luxury looking, do you know, that way. And again, as I said, when I'm placing things on grave, I want it to look luxury, I want it to look Christmassy, I want it to look nice. So the ribbon is going to go across the frame there, so I'm just going to have a little bit of a trim there of our ribbon just to make sure. This one's not great. You always kind of find with ribbons, trying to find a scissors that'll cut through them. This one's not great either, but anyway, it's just about doing the job. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this ribbon is start at one side and gather it in. So I'm making tiny, tiny little pleats, little gathers, kind of squeezing that in real tight. And then I'm going to get a wire, and I'm making what we call a little hairpin bend or a little hook, and I'm resting the hook just in under my thumb. And the long piece of wire that's left over, I'm going to wrap that around the hook and around them gathered pieces of ribbon 2 or 3 times, and I'm going to straighten the ribbon out a little bit. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So again, I'm gathering in the ribbon like little pleats, little squashes, little squeezes. I'm going to get a wire. I'm making a little hook at the top of the wire, which I'm placing just in under my thumb there. And this wire is now going to wrap around the hook of the wire and the surplus little bit of ribbon that was left sticking out. And again, I'm kind of opening out the pleats. So there I have my ribbon on a wire, and this is going to go across the wreath. Now again, if you've been watching me the different evenings, you'll say, God, the other evening she put it in last, and this evening she's putting it in first. You can do whatever you want. And I'm just trying to do it different each evening, that you realise like there is no set pattern and there is no set system to decorate these wreaths. It's completely up to yourself. And by God, we have done hundreds of workshops over the years, but even over the Christmas period. We've dealt with hundreds of clients, and like some of them will copy their door wreath exactly how I will demonstrate it, and others like to do it their own way. Now again, I'll just hold that up there just so you can get an idea what it looks like. And there might be people watching that might say, do you know what, Jeanette, I'd leave it like that. And absolutely, if that's what you want to do, it's your door wreath, it's your remembrance wreath to give to somebody. So again, it's completely up to yourself. But I'm going to put something on it. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a couple of little lotus pods, or lotus heads here and there, and I'm just going to divide them up. Now again, sometimes it depends on the humour I'm in, and you know what, sometimes it's not even the humour. I just try to do them all a little bit bespoke. So I hate personally, especially if I'm in business, you know, that way, is to turn out, 20 wreaths identical. As if I was a factory, working in Jacob's factory, turning out cream crackers, and all the cream crackers look exactly the same. I like mine to be a little bit different, a little bit unique. So you'll often see with the lotus heads that I group the lotus heads. And again, some of you might say, God, the other day she did it and she didn't put the lotus heads into the end. Absolutely, you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? There really is no guideline. But I'll just hold that up. The ribbon could probably do a bit of an iron. So I'm hoping that it'll lash rain on it. It'll wet that ribbon and then it'll flatten out. Now again, that's something people to say to me about placing wreaths on graves. Do you use waterproof ribbon? The white is waterproof, but the one underneath is not. It's like satin material, and that's definitely not waterproof. So no, I don't necessarily use waterproof ribbons. I have, so some of the demonstration classes that I'm doing here, yes, I have used a waterproof ribbon on some of them, but I don't plan to, you know, that way. It's whatever I choose to do. Maybe it's the budget that I'm working for, because obviously the waterproof ribbons are much cheaper, they are. Again, maybe it's the customer's choice, like maybe they like that style of bow and so on. There's certain bows that I can do with the waterproof ribbon that I can't do with the fabric ribbon and so on. So again, it's completely personal and it's up to yourself. So what I'm doing here now, I have all the pine cones wired already, so that's going to save a little bit of time. And what I would advise you is, like anybody that's planning on decorating wreaths, get in one of the evenings and wire up all your material. And a bit like I have there on the table, I have them all like laid out on the table in different containers. And then as I'm decorating, this is the fun part. This is the nice part. And you can see the way I'm just spinning them around on the table and then inserting the wires, you know, through the spruce, adding in my pine cones and adding in my lotus heads. So again, that's what it's looking like so far. I've 1, 2, 3, I've about 6 lotus heads and I've about 8 to 10 pine cones. No particular number, no particular strategy. Now what I'm going to do, as I said, I wanted to add a little bit of bling into this one. So I have wired up some of the baubles. I know some lemon slices have come in there, right? So these are just Christmas baubles that we picked up in the likes of Tesco's, Lidl, Aldi. They all had them. And they had different types of them. You know, some of them were kind of mixed. Now what you'll find with the baubles is the little crown on the bauble is sometimes inclined to fall off. So I get my dad, I could do it myself, but this is a job I give to my dad. And I ask him to put a little bit of glue on the bauble crown and it holds it in place. And then all I have to do is just look for one that's not wired already. Though the crown is missing out that one, so he must have forgotten that one. But anyway, through the little hook there, I just hook the wire through, twist it around each other, and then I have them wired. And you can wire them singly, you can wire them in 2s like I did, or you can wire them in 3s. So what I'm going to do, again, no particular pattern. I'm sticking the wire down into the spruce base, and I'm just adding the baubles here and there. Like, why can't you have baubles in heaven? Do you know that way? Why can't you have baubles on a grave? You can do absolutely whatever you want. So don't kind of feel that if you're doing it completely personal and you know the person, the grave that you're placing this on. But if you feel that the person, you know what I mean, would appreciate some baubles or liked Christmas, or they were the first one that had their Christmas tree up, you know what I mean, in the housing estate or on the avenue, well then give them a little bit of bling or a little bit of glitter. There's one there and it's wired individually, you know what I mean, just to show you that if you want to get better mileage, you know, that way out of your baubles, if you wire them individually, you probably will get better mileage out of them. So again, no particular pattern. Here and there, I'm just adding. One of them fell off. I'm going to give out to my dad there. Now, his gluing wasn't great for this class. So just here and there, just adding a couple of the little baubles in and out through the door wreath, you know, that way, or a grave wreath, as I said. And again, there's nothing to stop this being a door wreath. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to take the remembrance ribbon off and have it as a door wreath, absolutely. Now, just hold it up. I just kind of moved the ribbon there just so that you can see it. Just so you can see what it's looking like so far. The next thing I'm going to add in is a couple of the orange slices. Like, I love the fruits going through the wreaths, whether it be the whole oranges or the slices. So these are the dehydrated oranges. And once they get damp, they go back soft again, you know. And again, people often say to me, well, what do you do when they go soft? Nothing. It's fine. Leave them on your door if they go soft. Leave them on the grave. Normally what will happen is the birds will come along, they'll pick on them anyway. So listen, you're looking after the wildlife or anything else that's kind of like sneaking around. But yes, they're not going to last forever. People have said to me, oh, like when I went up after Christmas, the orange slices were all gone mildewed. Well, if they were fresh flowers on the grave, exactly the same thing would have happened. You know, that way, they're fresh items. Okay, they were dried and dehydrated. But once they get moist, they will go back soft again. It's absolutely fine. You will get the Christmas period out of them, no problem at all. So I add in the orange slices, and yes, I put them on the grave. I think they look absolutely gorgeous. Now I'll just show you, at the moment, I just have one side of it done with the orange slices in between the baubles, just to kind of give you an idea, and the other side hasn't. Now I feel the other side is lacking. Now there is people watching there and you're probably saying, do you know what, that's too fancy for a grave. But who says it's too fancy? Who said it has to be plain and ordinary and skimpy looking? At the end of the day, you make up your own mind what you want. Now, I also made this suggestion the other night and I got lots of comments after it. You know what I mean? People thought it was a great idea. If it's somebody very close to you and maybe you're going to visit a grave Christmas Day, Stephen's Day, you know what I mean, Christmas Eve, a couple of days after Christmas or whatever it might be. why don't you use this as a door wreath? Remove the ribbon. Use this as a door wreath on your own door. And then the day that you're going up the grave, add the ribbon. It's really easy to add the ribbon on yourself there. And then bring it up. And that way then they've been included as part of your Christmas celebrations as well. So that's just a suggestion. So again, I'll just hold it up just so that you can see what it looks like with these slices going through it. Now the next thing I have then is a couple of robins. Now these robins come with a little stick on them, and they're great for going down into the floral foam. But if you find it hard to maneuver, because they are quite stiff, okay, I'm cutting off the stick. I'm adding a wire to the end of it, okay, so a little hairpin bend, wrap it around, and again I can stick the wire down through the base, and it looks like our robin just landed on our grave wreath, okay? Now, some people, I know I had a girl there recently, and she said, can you put 2 robins in my one? She said, it's for my nanny and my granddad's grave. So absolutely, you can put 2 robins in. You can put a half dozen robins in if you want. What do you call loads of robins together? Haven't got a clue anyway, but loads of them. A flock of robins. That's a flock of pigeons, isn't it? Anyway, loads of them. So I'm putting 2 into this one. Somebody told me before as well that robins like to be on their own, that normally they fight. But you listen, they must get pregnant at some stage, so they must, at some stage, join up. So we're putting our 2 little robins down the end of our door wreath. Now, I forgot to announce our prizes, okay, for our giveaway tonight, or how you can enter. I can see some people, they're on the ball already and they're entering and they're saying that they've shared and pick me, and I can see Rudolph there in the comments. There's 3 options for entering the giveaway tonight. You can share this video, but you must put in the comments that you have shared it, okay? Share it to your own page, share it to a group's page. You can name one of Santa's reindeers, and you can name all 6 or 7 of them if you want to. And, you know, each time you put up a name, you have a chance of winning a prize. And the third option is, all you have to do is say, pick me, pick me, pick me. And what we'll do is when this class is over, we'll go through all the responses. We'll randomly pick 3 people. We'll comment under your name and we'll ask you to email us, and then we'll organise a little prize for you. So that's what our remembrance wreath looks like tonight. Completely different to the ones I did other evenings. But remember, join me again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. in the morning for, again, our 12 days of Christmas top tips. And join me tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. for, again, another decoration class on decorating your Christmas door wreath. Thanks for joining.